Hello and welcome to another B3 Masterclass for the B3 Biennial of the Moving Image 2021. My name is Johannes Grenzfurtner. I'm an artist and filmmaker. Have been doing weird projects for the last 30 years. I just returned from the United States because my recent horror film had just world premiere at Fantastic Fest in Austin, Texas. So bear with me, I'm a little jet lagged. I hope I can still manage to do all of this because we have a wonderful and very special guest in today's masterclass, Frédéric Boyer. It is a pleasure for me being able to talk to him and dig his brain about filmmaking and the film market. Frédéric Boyer is one of the most experienced film festival makers of all times. And of course the present time. So he is an artistic director and his expertise has enriched many festival programs, for example, Cannes or Tribeca. And in our masterclass today, we want to talk about trends that are currently shaping festival programs and what, for example, also the whole situation with COVID might have changed. But I don't want to do too much intro. I want to jump right in because only in 45 minutes he has to go to Iceland because he's the artistic director of RIFF in Reykjavik. So we don't have too much time. So let's jump right in. Frédéric, could you give us like a little overview? What is happening right now in the film market? I mean, COVID, of course, was a
Yeah.
big rock in the pond and made a lot of waves. So what's going on?
Yes, yes. Good morning, Johannes. Thank you
Good morning.
for inviting me. I don't know if I can call it a masterclass, but I would love. First, I didn't know you were a filmmaker, so having a conversation with the filmmaker is always a privilege for me. And thank you. Yes, it's a last question. I'm gonna trying to make it short. Of course, a lot of things change. Of course, the digital, but for us, film festival, which things are changing the last 2, 3 years and 5 years, and it's the platforms because and then the loss of the distribution in a way for art house film doesn't exist anymore, and TV don't buy these films. So now film festivals, we are the distributors and we are not used to that. So it's a little bit difficult because we are film lovers. I didn't succeed making films, so I decided to program films because I did not have enough talent. But I'm so happy to do what I'm doing. And but for me, programming film is sharing the film I love and make a program as all the programmers in the world. I know them. We are blood brothers in a way. And now people, I mean, the sales agent and the producers and the financiers and the sponsors, and I mean, they ask us to be distributor because what what is a dream of a filmmaker? It's of course maybe it's a dream to be seen by millions of people on Netflix, but first it's to show their film in front of an audience on the big screen, because you don't make a film to be seen on a phone. Even if I'm also watching platform and I enjoy it, so it's shifting, it's changing a little bit, and but we are lucky because film festivals are really successful. People are coming, and I will not say coming back. People always came to film festival, but it's like a CD in music disappeared, and people are buying vinyls. So now I will compare a little bit sometime the music industry and the film industry.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, because I just spent a couple of days in Austin at Fantastic Fest, it was interesting to see what conversations were going on there. And there is, on the one hand, of course, filmmakers want their films to be shown, and of course, it's great to be able to see films at a film festival. But of course, at the same time, they are like thinking ahead and they're thinking about like virtual film festivals and all that kind of stuff. But in general, there seems to be also a little bit of kind of like let's call it distrust. On the one hand, the filmmakers want their films to be seen. On the other hand, they kind of like distrust virtual film festivals because they think like that the movies might be ripped off or be pirated or some stuff like that. So how do you think like the movie scene like will react to stuff like that? Because I mean, if you
Yeah,
put something online, there is no real way to protect something from
yeah.
piracy and stuff like that.
I think piracy it's super problematic for genre films. But I'm not sure a film shot in Bulgaria, a relationship with the father and his son, gonna. I mean, there is no absolutely no problem. The problem is for film which are a little bit genre or comedy or horror. But I'm not sure this is the big problem for the small films. But I don't know. It's like I think it's not the man. It's not. Of course, it's the problem of a film like The Raid. I remember when The Raid was playing in Toronto, and it was done because before Toronto, The Raid by Gareth Evans, this wonderful film, it was already in Hong Kong the day of showing the film. It was already the piracy, and there is absolutely no business, nothing. So it was. I mean, it was a problem for this kind of film. But I'm talking to all films, small films, filmmakers who are just starting to make a film. And I want also to talk about, I don't really like this word, but the strategy and how to access to a film festival, how to access to a programmer. Sometimes, most of the time, people think we are not accessible. That's absolutely not true. If I walk outside my door in Paris, and if someone is say, "Hey, Frédéric, I know you are programming. I just made a film. Okay, this is very interesting. It's exactly what I'm looking for. Is someone who is totally unknown, and what we are looking for, everybody, is to have. Since a Blair Witch Project, people want to watch a film, buy a film, and they want to see a talent. So we don't know, and it's more and more difficult because the sales company, they are good, they are also movie lovers, they are also cinephile, and they are waking up at 7:30 in the morning. They are just going to all the market from the Torino Film Lab, Sundance Institute. They know what's happened in Scandinavia, they know what's happened in Italy, they know what's happened in France. There is absolutely no surprise. There is still something, but there is possibilities probably in the US. You never know. You can find a filmmaker from Alabama who is doing something fantastic with his iPhone. China, Russia, India, Iran, but most of the continent with a solid film market, like a film industry, like Latin America or even part of Asia, it's and Europe, it's super difficult, and of course Africa. So there is some countries it's super controlled in terms of market, and it's difficult for us to find someone who is totally unknown. And sometimes when the guy is unknown, it's just because he show his film. So he show his film to sales agent, and the film was rejected. So it's like it's not super easy. I think filmmakers has to be the problem is that we have also programmers have to change a little bit what we are doing. Distributors, there is some distributors, they have also to change a little bit their lineup, just because it's much more difficult to bring back a younger audience, not in festival, I mean, just for the screening, I mean, theatrical distribution. And it's very difficult to catch the attention of someone for minimum 90 minutes, because people are playing much more longer on video games, but they are watching the image. It's like a 2 minute, 3 minutes watching, just reading an article, going to YouTube, which also I'm doing. And then the duration of a film, as before, it's much more problematic. So the film has to be or super niche or more entertaining. But the film we call in France film in the middle, it's problematic. If you do another coming of age movie, if you do another road movie, I mean, it's not exciting. Nobody want to see it. Maybe, but there is of course exceptions, and hope there is exception, and sometimes there is not a solid script and a fantastic filmmaking. But first, the pitch, the idea, the excitement. When you talk about your film in two lines, it has to be exciting, and it has to be exciting for us, And of course, we are watching the film, and I think all the festival. I'm going to explain a little bit how it works in the selection committee because I think it's interesting to know how it works. But we need also to please our audience. I'm not talking about film festival like Rotterdam or Austin Film Fest, of course, or CJS. This festival, they have a range and all different type of things, or ANSI animation. But when I'm doing Les Arcs, even Tribeca or Reykjavik and most of the festival I know, and I know many film festival, we need people to buy tickets. We need to pay people to get a standing ovation. So we need to have some strong pieces. We need to have a good opening. And then if you have some really solid, entertaining film, it can be the last film by Giorgos Lanthimos. It can be, there's a lot of things which are really good, or Titan, the Palme d'Or. And then you can bring a little bit, you can bring personal film, because if you are bringing only small film, it's a disaster. So you need to make a balance with film which are a little bit maybe with talents and a cast, and also something you bring because you love this. And sometimes we love a film just for one actor. We love the film just because it's connected to your personal story. So we have to bring also something which is curated personal, but we also have to curate something solid in terms of film festival favorite. And this is also the balance. It's also what we are doing.
Okay, so well, let's get right into it. So, for example, indie filmmaker has a film, as you mentioned, made on his iPhone. It's like he invested, like he maxed out his credit card and made let's say, an excellent film with his friends for like a couple of $1,000s, and like classic indie film. And now he or she does not know what to do with it. So, and from the perspective of many small indie filmmakers, there are these like big gatekeepers, like there are all these people. How do I reach them? How do I get to them? How can I
I mean,
make like yeah? So how does that work?
yes, I mean, I would make a difference between American indie and the rest of the world.
Mhm.
If you are an American filmmaker and you did a small film, I mean, small film, a no budget film with your phone, and it can be fantastic. To be realistic, there's not so many film festivals where you can premiere. You can premiere Sundance, South by, Tribeca. It could be Santa Barbara, Palm Springs, Chicago. Chicago is a fantastic film festival. But I think, or Austin is good, but Austin it's South by, and if it's a genre film, of course, Austin Film Fest is really a fantastic platform. But that's it. If you are trying to open in Nashville, it's going to be difficult because then your film will not travel to Europe or Asia or anywhere. So you need to have the stamp of one of these festivals, and in a way, it's normal. It's a selection, and because premiering, I mean, there is absolutely very rare example of indie film, American film premiering in Cannes. It doesn't happen. Otherwise, you have a producer attached to the film. We know, they know, or an agent could be UTA, WMA, or Cinetic, and sometimes it could happen. But the best is Sundance. Of course, you
Mm.
start, and if you don't start Sundance, you have a Tribeca, you have South by. This is the calendar of festival. I mean, I'm sorry to be a little bit rigid, but this is, I will not say the rule. Of course, you can open in a small film festival in New Orleans. Yes, you can, but then it's going to not get the attention to all the programmers because you need reviews, you need to have report, we need to know about the film. And when it's not a world premiere from film festival in Europe like Locarno or Venice or BFI, it's a little bit difficult because you need a cachet, you need a stamp, you need a recognition. So the best is to start the premiere in this festival, trying to start in this festival, and then going to Europe or starting in Europe. It could be Carlo Vivari, it could be Locarno.
But the problem is, I mean, I talked to a couple of filmmakers in the last couple of days about that, is that because many film festivals are so eager to get premieres that sometimes they just like won't play films anymore because they already had a premiere. So there's almost this like cat and tail problem, or is this? I'm not sure
Oh,
if that's even true.
this is a long time discussion. It's a huge problem. It's a problematic for us. I would say I change my mind every day. So it's like because of course between programmers we are fed up because in the film festival culture we have festival A category, B category. A category is like Moscow, Cannes, Shanghai, Tallinn in Estonia. It means you cannot have Carlo Vivari. You have to have only world premiere. So for Cannes, of course, it's no problem. Everybody wants to go to Cannes. For a festival like Tallinn, it's okay because they are playing also regional film. It's international, but it's of course more difficult to find a world premiere because if the film has let's say a value, there is always good film in Tallinn in Estonia. But the film, the producer, the sales agent going to wait Sundance or Berlin or Rotterdam or why not Cannes or Tribeca. So it's and then between programmers say, okay, let's play the film we love. So I totally understand to play the film we love, and in an ideal world is to play a film from 1932 to an experimental film by Stan Brakhage and to have a blockbuster from the 90s like Jerusalem played the Canon film introduced by Tarantino just in August. This is a good idea, and you do only that, and it's great. It's like a film festival party to enjoy cinema, to have restore film. But the problem, if we are always doing this, there is no market anymore. And then who gonna write about a film if the film play on other film festival? In Les Arcs, we have this problem because we are the last French film at the end of the year. I mean, in France, but it's a European film. And then there is other film like La Roche-sur-Yon or Arras or Saint-Gervais, 5 or 6 film festival playing before. And of course, the distributors, what wants a distributor is not to play in one film festival. You want to play in 6, 7 film festival because Les Arcs is in December, and after January you have Angers and nothing, and it's finished for France. So of course, if I was a distributor, I really want to play in all this festival, and at the end to play in Les Arcs. But we can't find something from Venice, which is we try to find. But I think there is also something would change drastically, and I'm sorry to be honest, it's the quality of the films. Just check, just see, just open the book, open the program of any film festival 15 years ago. Sam Lang, Wu Xiaoxian, Tarantino, Lars von Trier, in the beginning, they are still making films. But in terms of, I mean, it's much more difficult to find films. And we are more or less programming the same films, which is okay because I love this film and probably they are the best. So it's super difficult to find a film nobody heard about with no sales agent, no producer, which is a masterpiece. Seriously, what I'm doing is watch the film all over the world. Maybe there's always a surprise, and it's a reason why I'm always checking. And I'm not programming short, but I'm fascinated by shorts and docs. Because shorts, okay, you can find a guy from Belgium, nobody knows. You can find a guy from New Zealand, and this is very interesting. You say, okay, there is talent. And then you are thinking about programming and doing a carte blanche to this guy totally unknown. But for the future, when they are in the process of market, like a Sundance Institute, Torino Film Lab, Rotterdam, Uberbals, Berlin, of course, then the process, everybody are tracking a little bit more the same film. And at the end, the film are done. And the film are, I mean, to be objective, there is the good film and film which are okay, good, which is absolutely not the case of the documentary, because the documentary, I can enjoy. If a documentary is not super well done, in a way, if I'm learning something exceptional, if there is I think it's enough for me. It's enough for the audience. Of course, we prefer the film to be well done, but it's not so important. When a film is not well done, I mean, a fiction film which is not well done, I'm sorry, it's going to be problematic. So, I mean, it's difficult, and I think if I compare to music, I'm always, and it's difficult for me because as you know, I'm collecting vinyls since a long time, and music is also important in my life. I'm always discovering a new guy from Germany, from Spain, from France, from Mexico City. There is always every morning you go to Spotify, you go to it's amazing. In cinema, it's super difficult. It's seriously in cinema, and I'm not only programming, but I'm attending as a lot of works in progress, and I'm also organizing works in progress, film not in development, but in a stage of editing. So I'm trying to read things, but we are all doing the same thing. And at the end, and I'm not talking about genre film. This is very specific, and this is a niche, and it can be unknown and exceptional. And I know in Austin, this is a little bit different. I'm talking about feature arthouse film we're going to see in Cannes, Rotterdam, and then we are all watching the same film, and we are discussing about the same film. That's it. There is a film called Azor. It's a Swiss film from Switzerland, playing at the Berlinale. It won an award in Zurich. We're going to play in Les Arcs. My friend from Jerusalem just played it. And then because that's it, because it's a film we love. We will not choose a film which was not appreciated in a way. Even if you can have your personal taste, but your lineup has to be done with these solid films.
I mean, more and more films. I mean, I think you mentioned Titan before is a good example because Titan had its premiere at Cannes, but it's also a very genre-y film. You know, it's something in between. You know, like art house and
Yeah.
genre film and stuff like that. So, and I guess that more and more people are trying to do very specific. Not niche films, but films that are a little bit different, you know.
Yes, it's
And
exactly, and it's the reason why the head of Wild Bunch, Vincent Maraval, and by the way, Titan is a Wild Bunch film, like Gaspar Noé, like and also Dardenne and many. So and the film won the Palme d'Or. Wild Bunch won also the um, Lion Golden Lion in Venice. He decided to create a company just for genre film, just for niche film. And then you bring talent and maybe people who are not exactly in cinema, people they can also write for gaming. It has to be. I mean, it has to be different to bring back. Otherwise, people are only watching James Bond. But Titan is exciting. Someone don't know about Titan, just check the trailer. Immediately you want to see it. And I really think Julia Ducournau, first she did not come from nowhere. She directed Raw, which was at the Critics Week previously. It's a fantastic example. It's a new, let's say, female filmmaker trying to do something, and wow, okay, and then it's bold, and then that's amazing. And I think it's the Palme d'Or is totally deserved, and it's giving a lot of hope for filmmakers because you can have the talent of Julia Ducournau. Maybe you don't have the budget, but you can create something which is interesting, exciting. It's a This is the thing, of course, for you filmmakers, and I didn't know you were a filmmaker. Of course, you want to propose to programmers something different, but we are looking exactly for the same thing. We are looking for excitement, and it's of course it's difficult because there is a competition between film festivals, of course, but not as much at the sales company because sales company and these people are pretty good, most of them. But of course, they are looking also for the same film. There's also a question of budget. What can you buy? But what, in terms of tracking filmmakers, they know where you are, and they know what you are doing. I mean, sometimes I know a friend of mine. They came to I was invited. I didn't go. These people they are going to Pristina in Kosovo. Just to see if there is someone. They are going to Serbia. They are going to Cartagena to see if there is any someone from Colombia. They are going to Reykjavik. We are doing industry days in Reykjavik after tomorrow in 3 days, which I'm presenting the works in progress. There's always someone who is checking, and now they are also it's online, so they can just see is there anything they are doing all the time. Every day, every morning, there is a market, there's a works in progress in Cologne, in Cologne, in October. Everybody is doing the same things, programmers and also sales company, to have a film and to bring the film to a big festival. And I would not say the same for genre film. If you have an horror film or something, this is not exactly the same market. I mean, it's the same market, but it's not the same sales company. But now, I would say Titan, it's a genre film and won the Palme d'Or, which is how can you imagine it would happen before in Cannes? I think it's extraordinary. And one day, another film after Michael Moore gonna win maybe the Palme d'Or with a documentary. So I think the door are really open to a new world and new perspective, and I'm pretty optimistic, even if I'm always a little bit. And again, compared to music, it's much more difficult to because it takes much more time. I don't know, but it's much more difficult to find the gem, which is totally different. I mean, you can find it, but it's and you can follow the filmmaker. It's what people are doing. Maybe it's not working the first time, but the filmmaker is talented. The filmmaker can also direct a film he didn't write. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like there's so much creativity out there, and people can. I mean, the step to being able to be a filmmaker, you don't have to have like that much a budget anymore. I'm not saying like most of the films at big film festivals, of course, are not micro budget films or low budget films. Most of them are not, but in a certain way, I'm very optimistic that some really interesting new voices will emerge out of this like accessibility of technology and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes, and this and yeah, the thing it's of course the cinema in 2021 is always under influence of filmmakers. Most of the time they are the same: Martin Scorsese, John Cassavetes, David Lynch, Jim Jarmusch. They are fantastic filmmakers. But the problem for us when we see someone who is trying to reproduce is not interesting. What is interesting? It's when a filmmaker is talk about his life. I'm not talking about his grandfather or uncle and things, which can be also interesting. But it's like a writer. You know, you have to invest what is inside of you, because if you are following what was did before, yes, we appreciate a woman under influence and we love the film, but we don't need to have the filmmakers who are interesting for us. Always a filmmaker with a vision, and I'm mentioning Yorgos Lanthimos. I can Alejandro Landes with Monos. There's so many. I mean, seriously, there's in each country. Lucas Dont with Girl. You have a guy say, okay, he's doing something his way. It's really it's when we discover Bullhead. What is the This is the Flemish film with Matthias Schoenaert, which is oh okay. He's doing something different. He's doing something, and this is exactly what we are looking for. It's something personal. So of course, the problem, of course, in the author's film is personally, I think in terms of script, there's too many father daughter, mother son, father out of prison, and always do you want to go in a discotheque? No. And the next shot they are in a discotheque. And there's a kind of a dictionary when a guy there's so many film when a guy is when he's a guy, you can be sure 50% of the film is going to be beaten with outside in the street, or he gonna commit something bad, and then he's gonna have a shower just to clean his sin. And it's it's like a, I don't know. It's like, I mean, of
I mean,
course,
yeah,
I know I
it's
will be. It's impossible for me to do it, but filmmakers have to reinvent the form of cinema,
yeah.
even
I
if
mean,
it's
there are
if,
certain formulas, and the strange thing, even at film school, I mean, they teach you. I mean, like you know, the basically like three act structures and all that stuff, and of course that's good. But I have the feeling that that sometimes, especially writing films, people just like keep it so so formulaic and so
Yeah,
1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, like you can exchange everything. And
I totally agree, and it's difficult because let's say 12 years ago, 15 years ago, when you arrived in the festival and you said, "Oh, um, what did you find for the Q&A? What did you find your actors?" My actors are non-professionals, and people say, "Wow, that's incredible." But now, when the filmmakers say, I work with non-professional," 100% of the filmmakers are working with non-professional. So this is the hybridity, like between documentary and fiction, which we love. It's everywhere. It's in most of the film, and of course that's true. Making a shot of a dog, is it a documentary of a fiction? So it is very interesting. But the problem is to say, okay, I did an hybrid film, yes, but now you don't have to say it's in hybrid. We're going to see it because most of the film are hybrid because they are using non-professional, which is probably better because it's but now which was contemporary 10 years ago, it's totally common in cinema. So it's also the idea not to reinvent this because you can keep it. And by the way, it's also the cinema I like, but not say you are doing it with non-professional actors because we can see it. We can, of course, discuss or during the Q&A. But I don't want to be rude. I'm just saying you can see people are making more or less the same things if you horizontally all over the world. And sometimes when the guy from Australia doing something different, immediately you can see it. Immediately you can see there is he's trying to do something, and it's enough. If you are trying to do something, it's enough. I don't say the film going to be in Cannes or maybe going to be in Cannes. And I cannot give an advice to filmmakers as I'm not a filmmaker and will be totally incapable to make a film. So it's an advice just from the perspective of a programmer who is watching film all day. That's it.
are there a couple of kind of like no-goes where you say like if that happens, well, that's it? Is there something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's happened. Probably, I'm not a reader, but I know people who are reading for companies, and of course, the beginning is super important. You read the first book of a book, immediately you can see. And for a film, or you listen to the introduction, and it's not only, it's everything. It's the production, the grain, the light. I don't know why. It's yes, of course. When you if you want, I'm going to give you an example. But for me, a film which start now is less, but it was very common a few years ago. When you see a teenager on the countryside, you don't see his face, you see his neck, his back, and he's walking. And the camera is like a Darden way, following and this is seriously after when they did it for elephant, it was wow. It was did before, but then Gus Van Sant reinvented this, and it was fascinating. And then Rosetta, so the mix of Rosetta by Darden and um, and Gus Van Sant made a lot of problem of the cinema. Why are you moving your camera behind? Because there is no sense. But when the guy is starting a film with the shot and you see the face of the teenager, okay, maybe we're gonna. He tried to escape the rules of the author cinema, which I think are interesting. But the question is the quantity of the reproduction. But when it's happened so much time, I think it's a little bit problematic. But what I always say, and I'm not sure I'm right, I say, and it's the reason why when I'm going to festival, of course I'm watching film, but what I like is to meet filmmakers. And then when you meet a filmmaker, you can see his film looks like the filmmaker. Like a Samuel Fuller looks Samuel Fuller film. Tarantino looks like Tarantino. And this is quite interesting, the way he moves, the way the filmmaker, man or woman. And I think the adequation between the body, the language, the voice, the way, and the film is very important to. So it's really important to meet. I think the filmmaker. I think you understand a lot through the soul of a filmmaker, and then you watch a film, or you watch a film and you see the filmmaker. Sometimes I change my mind. I see a film and I'm not sure, and then I have a dinner or something or a drink, and then you can feel something. You can understand a little bit more. So I think it's the reason why film festivals are beautiful, because when the filmmaker is coming at the end, people are still thinking of the film. Sometimes they didn't like the film. Sometimes they love the film, but people who didn't like the film, maybe the guy gonna give some keys about the film. Give another. Is okay. This is what it is. My point of view. This is the way I wanted to do it for this reason, and then it's super. This is educational in a way, but this is important because the problem when you have a film and you have absolutely nothing, sometimes you don't have to understand a film. You can also sleep during a film and see masterpieces. I slept during Antonioni film, but the film were good. So it's not only a question of watching a film. It's the connection with the cinema is going, of course, not only of watching, writing, is it good, not good? No, it's physical. It's going through your body. It's going to something like music. So I think it's also very sensitive what we are doing. And what we love in our job of programmer, we can be wrong. We are making mistake. We are missing film. Sometimes we are not selecting the best film. I don't say we are good. We try to do something, but we are always anxious because we are okay. We sometimes you play a film which we love and it's not well received, and then there is only 20 people in the screening room or 25, and you're embarrassed. So it's not always a pleasure, because also this is another thing. What we are doing, which is important, is also to write back to the filmmakers, especially when you refuse a film, because some people are paying the fees to the film to be seen. Sometimes they are contacting me directly or other programmers. So our role is also to say, okay, thank you for this cut. Can I watch another thing? We are discussing. Most of the time it's no, because in Tribeca we are receiving 9,000 films, including shorts. So it's close to 10,000. So most of the time we have to say no. And but
But,
we need
that's a really
absolutely.
important.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting question. Like, I was just like thinking about that. I mean, there are brands, for example, like Tribeca, who are such like global mega brands that so many people submit films, like you say, like 10,000 films or something like that. How do you even manage to sort through all of this? Like, how would that work? To say like, wow,
Yeah.
there are 10,000 films now.
Yeah.
And we can only play, I don't know, 100 or something. It's like, how do you narrow that
Yes,
down?
this is a very good question. I can tell you in Tribeca, it's so well done. Not only it's a democratic, like everybody can talk about the film, but all the film there is short. I'm not doing short. There is docs. I'm overview the docs, but there's people specialized in docs. There's people specialized in international. In international, we have someone specialized in a territory, and then we meet every week. But all film are we are rating the film from 0 to 5. 5 doesn't exist, and 0 doesn't exist. Let's say 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. And when the film has a normal, pretty good rate, going to be shared with two other people. And then it's going to be another work to bring the film to me, to all the senior programmer, knowing we are also in contact with the producers or sales agents, so or the film, just the filmmakers. So sometimes they are going directly to us, but you can submit a film randomly to Sundance or Tribeca. I can tell you it can be selected. It's really because it is seen with there's a lot of filters, so we can miss film, of course. I don't know, maybe someone cannot see the film. It happened in the past, it happened in all the film festival, it's happened in Cannes, everywhere. But it's the film is considered, seen, discuss. It take a lot of time, and in all the festival, I know people are really serious. It's not if you send a film, it's gonna be seen. The problem, you don't even know when it was seen. You even know. You need to have a feedback, and this is the problem for the filmmakers. You send your film, and what? You send your film, and then you send the film to another film festival, and you don't know exactly what you do because you don't have the feedback. So it's the reason why I think it's. I'm not asking all the filmmakers to contact me, of course, but I think it's good to find a way to go directly to the programmer. It takes less time, and but the film are really discuss all the time. So I mean, it's impossible. A film cannot be not seen. It's seen with one person. Of course, if the person is giving a super low note rate, I'm not sure the film gonna be more than that. But it's pretty well done.
So what I see like in recent years, there is a lot of like many people have way more like outside the film festival world and outside the world of professionals who deal with film. There are so many people online rating films, like on IMDb and stuff like that, and writing their comments. Does that in any way like go back into the film festival world? So when you see something like a film online, I don't know, let's say on YouTube or somewhere that gets a lot of good ratings or a lot of views or something like that, that kind of like is the online world somehow feeding back into the film festival world, or is this hardly happening?
Yes, in a way, this is it's really interesting because now everybody can be a film critic. I'm not sure, but it's like the rate in TripAdvisor. You rent an hotel and you are okay. Well, okay. Just example, you go to a restaurant with a good rate on TripAdvisor. No, I was yesterday to to a, to a restaurant, an Italian restaurant, and it was open on Sunday. And I went to this restaurant like 15 years ago. It was 4.5 the rate everywhere, and you go to the place. Hey, why it's 4.5? It's 4.5 for you, but not for me.
Mhm.
So and reviews. I mean, personally, I really trust film critics. I know Erin Cohn, IndieWire. Sometimes it's severe, sometimes it's wonderful. I'm reading people I know, Jay Westberg, Jay Westberg and Deborah Young, they just built a new, and we not say company called The Film Verdict. So they are not working for Screen International, Hollywood Reporter, and Variety. And this is interesting, and they watch really the small film all over the world. And this is when I trust a film critics. Of course, it's very interesting to know the opinion. And what's happened online, it's also interesting because you cannot think, and especially I'm talking about you, filmmaker, you came back from Film Fest. Of course, there is the purity of cinema and the purity of the film, but there is also the buzz. What is in your film going to be excite someone else? Because today it's your day because you are in Austin Fest, and maybe tomorrow it's not your day. You have to work on another film. So the idea is really sad because when the film is going to festival, you don't know your film, and when it's going to Netflix, you don't know because you don't even know who saw your film, how many, you don't even know, which is good because the film going to be seen by 6 million people in the world, but you don't know when, where, you don't know the audience, you don't know if it's in Singapore or France, which is a little bit terrifying. uh, but when you have done your film, it's not your film anymore. You have to think about, it's a reason why it's I think it's really important for filmmaker if they are invited to travel and to bring the film to with different audience, which is limited because you can be addicted. I'm not anymore addicted with travels, but I know filmmaker when they start and they invited to festival. Of course, they go to festival because they think, okay, I'm going to a festival and I'm going to work on my next project, but it never happened. You travel, you drink good wine, and you enjoy to be invited. You enjoy. And but I think when you are writing, you need to be a little bit more isolated in a hotel room in a film festival. It doesn't work. So there are sometimes it's 3 days in Sarajevo, 3 days there, which is a beautiful life. But I'm not sure you go back to work when you are doing the festival circuit.
Yeah, no, I'm personally enjoying it a lot, being able to see the direct reaction in the cinema when people see my films. Of
Yes, and
course,
it's
yeah, yeah,
sometimes people are laughing to things you don't even imagine. You you have also you have also it's like I really like films like sometimes people can love it, sometimes people can hate it, and and then the film. Let's say imagine a film with a scene of a violent scene. Okay, okay, people are living. Okay, but I think it's interesting. It's not because you don't like a film you don't like a film. I'm going to explain it. It's not because the film is not. Is sometimes you have a pleasant film, but you don't remember nothing about the film. And sometimes you see a film which is, but 24 hours later you think about the film or something is coming back. The film is printing your body, is printing. You saw something, you remember you saw something, and it's with friends we are trying to bring a list of film, not the best film of the world, which is not interesting because everybody you're gonna put Charlie Chaplin or Bergman, of course, they are masters or Cassavetes, but more important, it's the best screening. So the film don't has to be good; it has to be a part of your life with your lover, with your kids, and you saw a film for my and it's a list of 100 film, and I remember my father bring me to see a Bruce Lee film called Enter the Dragon. Wow, I was young, but it was a fantastic film for me. So I mean we have to bring the subjectivity of the screening in terms of sometimes you enjoy a film because you are alone and you were if you are with four friends it's going to be totally different. Sometimes it's like a wine. A wine, there is wine you can drink it at 4, at 8. In the summer, it depends of the grape. So it's not always the same all the time. Your film gonna be good at one point. It's gonna be fantastic in the film festival in Tokyo because the audience is so crazy, or it's gonna be a failure. So I would not say a film is exactly the same with all audience. And when we love a film, the most important is to love a film personally, not to love a film to compare with other films. And sometimes there is film, and this list we are trying to bring film we saw totally unknown film. I think in this list I was mentioning a film I saw a long time. It's called Three Amigos by John Landis. Very
yeah.
funny. I don't want to see it again because I don't want the film to not be funny anymore. So I remember it was funny at this time. It was Steve Martin with the Mexican hat.
The sombrero, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay, this is a good example of a film. You have a good memory and the film, you enjoy the film. You saw the film, it was just a film. But now, 20, 30 years later, it's one of the most important film of my life. So the subjectivity is always super important. So,
Absolutely. Wonderful. We already like it's almost 9. I don't want you
yeah.
to have to rush to the airport
Yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah.
and being too stressed out about that. So thank you so much. It was a pleasure to talk to you about all of that.
Yes,
And
thank you. It was a very good conversation. I really enjoy. I appreciate. I would like to see your film, by the way. So send me your contact and things.
absolutely, absolutely. I'll do
I'm
that. I
curious
mean,
about
it's. I
any
think
film.
it fits. It yeah, it fits perfectly in what you told us because it was a film that I couldn't get any funding for. I really wanted to do it, so I made it for 15K in this room.
Yeah, it is
And
exactly
so,
what we are looking for. This is fantastic.
couldn't
Please
believe
send
it.
it to me. And this is, of course, there is so much hope. There is so many young filmmakers. They want to do something. So we are all asking this question of what are we doing? What kind of film? Because it's a crisis, but when it's a crisis, there is always good thing appearing.
Yeah,
It's
it's so
so
weird because at the one hand, I also know many filmmakers who say, "I want something that is successful. I want to make something successful," and then they are just very formulaic. And at the other hand, there are so many people who say, "Like, well, I just want to do what I want to do,"
Yeah,
and it's always so strange to see what in the end makes it to the big screen, because it's
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. But this just for people watching us, I think it's just want to say it's not difficult to approach a programmer. We love we love, not me, but we love to meet filmmakers. It's always interesting. We like stories. I mean, seriously, it's what we like. And when I'm in the festival, immediately I'm trying to have a discussion with the filmmaker, because this is why I'm doing this job. And
Yeah,
watching film, of course, is
yeah, yeah.
important, but meeting the filmmakers is very important.
Maybe one last question. Do you ever get tired of having to watch films? Like, is there a day when you say, like, oh my God, I have to watch 20 films now? I
Never,
don't want to.
never. And I'm watching a lot of crap. I'm watching a lot of bad films, for of course, like I
Yeah.
mean, it's normal. But I no, because I don't think I'm a professional. I'm just an amateur watching film. So it's like no, it's never boring. Of course, you are trying. Sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes it's long. Sometimes it's not interesting. But I'm trying to find something positive, something really positive about the language, about the actors. And no, I'm not tired to watch films. But I like to cook. So for me, most of the time, when I'm home, I'm cooking. I'm cooking, watching film, and listening music. So I'm trying to do everything at the same time. I cannot watch film from. I'm starting watching film at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. But seriously, you cannot go be on your computer. What on the big screen, I can stay very long, but I cannot be on my computer like this. So I need to have an approach with a little bit more, give me breath, and be, because I don't want to be a machine. So it's the reason
Mhm.
why I cannot watch a spy film a day. I did it, but I don't. I cannot. So I have to open different files and to separate my day to, because it has to be. I will not say healthy, but you cannot be blah, blah, blah. You have also to have your personal life to enjoy films. Otherwise, you enjoy nothing. You are just an expert and a professional. And I really think I am an amateur. Just I'm trying to do my best. So yeah,
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great travel to Iceland
thank
and
you.
successful meetings there. Greet all the Icelanders from me. There are not that many.
No, they are not that many, but the audience of the festival is amazing. They are between 25 and 30 years old, so it's really young. And so perfect. I'm going to meet
Wonderful.
them, and that's it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Johannes. Please let me know about your film, and let's stay in touch. It was a pleasure, and talk soon.
Wonderful.
Ciao.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Ciao. Bye bye.